After years of hard work, she finally had it all.
She has an amazing career, wonderful children, and this man who she loves and adores.
She was very happy. She had a lot going for her.
Until it came to a sudden, shocking end.
It looks like she's been hit in the head.
There's blood everywhere.
My mother was DOA.
I didn't have no words.
Had a ghost from her past come back to haunt her.
He was a raging alcoholic.
She just went through hell in that relationship.
Are you serious?
I saw her be beaten.
Or was the terrible truth hiding in plain sight?
The signs are there.
They saw this might happen.
God was trying to warn my mom.
She'd be like, no, I'm fine.
That was like one of the worst heartbreaks.
Because he was so jealous.
They have to live with that for the rest of their lives.
July 20th, 2017. It's a steamy summer night in Gwinnett County, Georgia, a booming suburban community just outside Atlanta.
The population in Gwinnett County has literally exploded in the last 4 decades.
People move here because you get so much more for your money. And so it's definitely become a family town.
You move to Gwinnett because you're safe. And this is a place that people could call home.
Help!
But as a panic call to 911 reveals, no place is entirely safe.
911 receives a call from a woman. She tells the operator that her neighbor's 12-year-old son came knocking on her door.
He just came and rang the doorbell screaming and saying his mom, he just went in the mom's room. She's got blood everywhere.
This child is completely frantic and afraid and confused. So the neighbor then goes to the kid's house to help him and see what's going on.
In the bedroom, she finds the boy's mother, 46-year-old Erica Powell.
But I just know she has a lot of blood coming out her ear. Her nose is pouring out.
It is a completely gruesome scene.
Do you know what happened to her at all?
It looks like she's been hit in the head with something.
There's blood everywhere.
Does it look like she was shot?
I can't tell.
They ask her to begin CPR.
All right. I got able to get her down to the floor.
But Erica's neighbor balks at the suggestion.
I can't.
To see her lying there, that's something that no one ever wants to have to go through.
And that's not the only reason she's frozen in fear.
Like, I don't even feel comfortable being in here.
You worried somebody else would be in the house?
Yeah, I am.
46-year-old Erica Powell had climbed high up the corporate ladder.
She was a high-level accountant for a big firm in Atlanta.
She was a hard worker, an educated woman.
And she had done it all while raising 6 children.
She always took care of us, made sure we was well fed, well taken care of, everything.
Never judged me, like unconditional love, like for real. And she was literally like an angel.
My mom was a beautiful person all around, inside and out.
But throughout her early 20s, Erica had had to struggle for everything she had achieved.
She had her 4 oldest children when she was very young.
I seen my mom jump through hurdles and go over obstacles, like real life obstacles.
She would literally turn $1 into 1,000 to make anything happen for her kids.
To see this strong Black woman working double jobs and stuff just to make sure we was fed and in school at the same time, that's unbelievable.
Although Erica hoped the load would become lighter when she met and married a man named Aaron Reed in 2000.
Everyone told my father not to do it because she had 4 kids already, and he still did it.
My mother's first husband, that is the only guy who I ever knew as a father.
During their marriage, Aaron and Erica added 2 more children to the family, making them a family of 8.
Good.
We had a lot of good moments.
But there were bad moments, too.
My father had a real serious, drinking issue.
It just turned into something that she wasn't expecting.
My first marriage, it was up and down. A lot of domestic violence, a lot of abuse, verbal and physically.
She decided that she very much wanted something different for her and her children.
After 10 years, she left her troubled marriage and took accounting classes at the local community college.
She didn't have a lot of resources. And so she would walk, she would take the bus, she would do whatever she needed to do so that she could meet that goal of attending school and getting that degree.
Nothing stopped her. If she said she wanted it, she got it.
Erica eventually got her bachelor's degree in accounting.
Soon after, she landed her dream job.
She was working for a Fortune 500 company. Things were really looking up for her.
But Erica still wanted more for herself and her children.
She continued to go to school.
She was going towards something bigger each and every time.
Soon, Erica had earned her master's in accounting and the promotion that went with it.
She making six figures.
She lived in a beautiful home here in Gwinnett County.
We came from nothing, so yeah, it's definitely a change, and it was change for the better.
But there was still one thing missing in Erica's busy life: a partner to share it with.
She'll bring guys around, but they'll be temporary.
She did have a lot of interests out there. And a couple of the guys that she dated that I knew were nice guys, you know, but it was just like, that's probably somebody that's just for right now.
But when she met Walter Lowe, something was different.
She was actually on a date with somebody else, and they caught each other's eye in the parking lot.
Excuse me, girl, but you know you could do better. No, really? Why don't you give me your phone and I'll give you my number?
He is a smooth talker, very charismatic.
A few dates later, they were inseparable.
From very early on, the two of them were completely crazy about each other.
Things were good. They were very affectionate.
I knew she was in love with Walter. I also heard him talk about how much he loved her. He was like, Keisha, I love this woman.
Before long, Walter had moved into Erica's suburban home.
It did make her a lot happier having someone around.
Erica's oldest kids were out of the house at this point, but her younger sons also appreciated having Walter around.
He was the father figure in the household. The other boys, I believe that, you know, they was cool with him.
Things were going really well. They were really happy. She felt like she finally had that love that she had been looking for.
And in July of 2016, they officially became a team.
They took a trip to Vegas. And during that trip, they decided to go ahead and get married at the very famous Little White Chapel there in Las Vegas.
She was just excited. She was happy.
This was everything that she wanted. She had an amazing career. She had amazing children. And now she had an amazing spouse to share this with.
But now police and EMTs are racing to Erica and Walter's suburban home.
A neighbor has just called 911 after finding Erica lying in a pool of blood.
She's not moving. She's not responding.
The neighbor also fears that whoever attacked Erica may still be in the house.
If you feel it's safe to go outside, then go ahead and do that, okay?
Okay.
We've already got police and paramedics coming out as fast as they can.
Gwinnett County Police are on the scene within minutes.
They have to clear the home and make sure that there's no one else there.
But when officers give the all clear, there's little that EMTs can do.
They pronounce her dead at the scene.
However, unlike the neighbor who found her, the EMTs are able to tell how Erica died.
She had a gunshot wound to the head.
Erica had been murdered.
After her failed first marriage, single mother Erica Powell had built a thriving career and a new life with her second husband, Walter Lowe.
That was the happiest I've seen my mom in years.
Things had finally come together, and she had pretty much everything that she wanted.
But now, police have just found the 46-year-old mother of 6 brutally murdered.
While the neighbors said that it looked like she had been beaten over the head, what they actually find is a gunshot wound.
There was nothing that would suggest that there had been a physical altercation.
The victim was found laying prone on the bed, such a position that would suggest that she was asleep when she was murdered.
There's no weapon at the scene.
They found 2 9mm shell casings in the bedroom.
One shell casing was located near the foot of the bed.
When detectives arrive, they also locate a bullet fragment on the pillow near Erica's head.
There was a defect in the headboard where a projectile had struck.
Other than that, the crime scene offers few clues.
There wasn't much disarray within the bedroom. It looked like a normal bedroom.
They see that there are no signs of forced entry.
Come on, let's go.
This established probable cause to believe that the person guilty of this crime knew the victim.
Hoping for a lead, detectives speak with Erica's son, who'd found his mother's body.
As you can imagine, the son is completely devastated when the police sit him down and tell him the awful news.
At the time, I was just speechless. I couldn't really, everything was like a blur.
I know this is tough, but we're going to need your help so we can try to find the person who done this, okay?
Police ask the son to basically walk them through everything that happened before finding his mom dead.
Although still shaken, Erica's son walks detectives through the events leading up to that fateful moment.
It's a normal day. I'm going on to play basketball with my friends.
He came home just around 9 o'clock. He saw his mom's car there, so he knew that she was home.
I call out to my mom, and she ain't answer. I see a light on.
Mom, I'm home.
He just assumed that maybe she had gotten home and taken a nap that wasn't unusual for her.
And I go into the living room and I watch movies.
Mackay says he had no idea anything was wrong until he went to tell his mom good night.
I look and I see her body right there with like blood and all that.
Mom? Oh my God.
And I didn't really cry. At the moment, it was just like, all shocking. So if I ran out the house.
Mackay went and found an adult neighbor.
I think my mom's dead. And I started crying right there. And then they called the police.
For a 12-year-old to discover his mom dead, murdered, that's going to be something that he has to live with his entire life. It's going to be ingrained in his memory forever.
Finally, detectives ask Erica's son if anyone else lives in the house.
There were only 4 people that lived in that residence: Erica, her 2 sons, and Walter.
Were your brother and your stepdad here with you tonight?
No.
He had not seen anyone else.
But just as detectives are about to ask how to get a hold of the boy's stepdad, there's a disturbance outside.
Okay, look, just sit tight. We're going to go see what's going on outside, okay? Be right back.
When detectives head outside to investigate, they find officers struggling to cuff a young man.
I just pulled up to the house. It was police everywhere. When I mean everywhere, it was crazy. And as I'm walking to my front door of the house, 2 cops tell me to stop and they rush me. So I get into an actual fight with them. They finally get me in handcuffs.
Let him go. I need to speak to him. Stand.
By the time Keon's released, word that police are at the house has spread among his siblings.
I received a call, and it came through like something happened to your mom. And I hopped in my car when I got there, and I'm asking everyone there what's going on, where's my mother?
I'm Kiki. These are my brothers.
It was a lot of screaming, yelling, trying to find out what's going on.
Finally, the detectives gather Erica's older children together and give the horrifying answer.
They said, I'm sorry to inform you, your mother is deceased.
It was a lot of emotions.
I didn't have no words.
Under the circumstances, detectives have no choice but to postpone interviewing Erica's children.
The shock of knowing that their mother had been murdered and their youngest brother found her body, they couldn't contain themselves.
Instead, investigators focused their efforts on contacting Erica's husband, Walter Lowe.
Walter Lowe? This is Detective Carter of the Gwinnett County Police Department.
Walter agrees to come down to the station and have a conversation with them.
The kids pretty much told me what happened. I just can't believe it.
Walter is completely shocked and devastated.
So, you would say y'all had a good relationship?
Absolutely. That was my babe. We were still.
Walter explains to the police that they had a whirlwind romance and that they were still very much in love with one another and that they were only 3 days away from their 1-year anniversary.
Where were you this evening? I had some errands to run after work. I was on my way home when I got the call.
Okay. Do you know of anyone who may have wanted to hurt Erica?
Yes.
Who?
Walter immediately says yes.
If I were you guys, I would definitely look into the ex-husband.
Erica's ex-husband had abused her.
She just went through hell in that relationship.
Erica's husband, Walter, has just told the detectives investigating her murder that Erica's ex-husband may be responsible for her death.
If I were you guys, I would definitely look into the ex-husband.
Walter revealed that Erica suffered years of abuse from her ex-husband.
He was a raging alcoholic who was not only emotionally abusive, but also physically abusive.
I'm not your baby anymore.
You are my baby.
I saw my mom be pistol whipped. I saw her be beaten. I saw alcoholic beverages like glass bottles being thrown to the back of her head. And that was just typical.
It was rough. A lot of domestic violence, a lot of abuse, verbal and physically. I seen it with my own 2 eyes.
To this day, saying this about my dad, it's hard to say. It's very hard to say.
Erica had eventually found the strength to leave the relationship.
It was Erica just kind of really being concerned about her safety and her children's safety, as well as not wanting to continue this cycle of abuse.
And once she left, she never looked back.
When she finally got out of it, she was more aware of her surroundings, more alive.
It was a feeling of like, she's taking new steps.
But now, is it possible that Erica's horrible past has come back to haunt her?
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Appreciate your time. I want to show you out.
After talking to Walter, detectives dig into Erica's ex-husband, Aaron Reed's police records.
What they find appears to confirm Walter's account of an abusive relationship.
There were 911 calls, which ended in the police actually being dispatched to their home.
I know the police was called. However, that didn't stop the cycle.
Leaving that relationship was very difficult. She actually had to secretly save money that she needed so that she could eventually leave that relationship.
Yeah, he could be our guy.
Definitely.
But when detectives receive Erica's autopsy later that day, the results confirm that she never had a chance to escape her killer.
Look at this.
The angle of the bullet suggests that the person that did this was standing directly in front of Erica at the time they made the shot. She was executed right there in her sleep.
The medical examiner also pinpoints her time of death to between 7 and 9 p.m.
Her son had been in the house with his mom's body for 3 hours and didn't know.
That afternoon, detectives haul Erica's ex-husband, Aaron, in for questioning.
We have some questions about your ex-wife's murder.
I figured you would.
Unlike the others who learned of Erica's death, her ex-husband showed absolutely no emotion.
But according to Aaron, that doesn't mean he killed her.
When the police suggest that, he laughs and tells them that he had absolutely nothing to do with this.
We know all about your history with Erica.
Yes, how abusive you were.
That was a long time ago.
He says that he and Erica had not actually seen each other for a while.
My mom just continued to move on.
When was the last time you saw her, Aaron?
Not sure. A couple months ago? Not last night. No.
Aaron tells detectives that he was at work last night until 11 o'clock.
Detectives are suspicious, but with nothing to hold him on, they're forced to let him walk.
With his history of abuse towards Erica, though, checking his alibi will be their priority.
But that checked out. So there was absolutely no way that her ex-husband had anything to do with her death.
Just as the investigation appears to be at a dead end, Erica's close friend, Keisha Allen, arrives at the station and says she has vital information.
Thank you for coming in. You can have a seat.
Thank you. Anything for Erica.
She was a friend. She was family. She was just somebody that I can go to talk about anything with no judgment. Even without saying, I knew she was always in my corner.
And now it's Keisha's chance to return the favor.
There's something I think I should tell you about Erica and Walter.
Their idyllic life was not exactly what it seemed to be.
This was not a rosy relationship. It was very toxic.
I think he killed her.
Less than 48 hours after Erica Powell's murder,
I can tell something wasn't right.
her friend Keisha Allen has come forward with information about Erica's year-long marriage to Walter Lowe.
Keisha tells detectives that Erica and Walter's relationship appeared promising at first.
I'll give you my number.
When we would talk, she would tell me, I met this guy and you're gonna love him.
Instead, Keisha says that she had her doubts from the moment she met Walter.
He liked to dominate conversation. He was overbearing at times.
Keisha hadn't said anything to Erica at first.
I wanted her to be happy. I was like, okay, maybe it's just him.
But as time passed, Keisha became more and more troubled by her friend's relationship.
It came to a point where I would be like, E, why don't we meet and go have drinks and dinner like we used to? And she would be like, well, he wants to go. Why? Why we can't go ourselves? Even at the rare times that we could meet up and it would just be us.
What a kids. Kids are great.
Her phone was ringing every 15 minutes with him calling.
So, do you need to get the...
I gotta go.
We just got here.
It turned into what you always hear about, you know, when somebody starts isolating somebody. We would go for like 6 to 8 months without even seeing each other.
Did Erica ever tell you about any abuse?
No, not directly, but I can tell something wasn't right.
She never expressed to me directly about any physical abuse. And I never witnessed any.
She never confronted Erica about her concerns either.
She loved him. And people say you can't make yourself not love someone, but it just got to the point where when I started feeling the distance between Erica and I, it hurt, you know? It hurt.
And now you think Walter had something to do with Erica's murder?
Yes, definitely.
It's like hindsight is 20/20, you know? And it's just like, wow, you know? Wow.
Unsure what to make of Keisha's story, detectives reach out to Erica's adult children.
The night of the murder, they'd all been too distraught to talk to the police.
All right, listen, I'm gonna grab some paper.
2 of Erica's sons arrive first, and what they tell them is eye-opening.
Walter Lowe was an addict.
He was on drugs, like real bad.
What type of drugs did he use?
Heroin, cocaine, weed, a lot of everything.
According to Erica's sons, their mother had no idea at first.
He hid that from her for a long time.
And when Erica did find out, she did her best to help him kick the habit.
Erica wanted to support him in getting clean. She wanted him to get counseling and enter drug rehab.
But even with his wife's support, Walter never managed to quit using, and his behavior became more and more erratic.
He would have like real serious mood swings, like he was bipolar, you know?
He was just so doped up on drugs.
However, despite all the chaos they witnessed, Erica's sons never saw Walter physically assault their mother.
He didn't like do anything to her or nothing.
Although Erica's older sons weren't off limits.
Me and him had blows. We actually had physical altercation.
In one instance, the cops were called.
He was ultimately charged with family violence and obstruction because when he was taken into custody, he resisted arrest. And that's what led to the obstruction charge.
Walter even spent a few hours locked up before he made bail.
There was a no-contact provision between Erica Powell and Walter Loeb as a condition of his bond.
Despite the order, Walter had written letters and left messages for Erica.
He keeps promising over and over and over again that he's going to change. Just give me one more chance. I'll never drink again. I'll never do cocaine again.
And when the case went to court, Erica intervened on Walter's behalf.
Erica asked the court and the district attorney's office to lift that no-contact provision because she wished to have contact with Walter Lowe. Also submitted an affidavit to dismiss that case.
This case was very typical of many of our domestic cases. It's not uncommon for victims of domestic violence to come to the prosecutor's office, begging and pleading to have the charges dropped.
The victim wants this incident not to have taken place and to stay in their relationships.
But does his history mean it was Walter who'd taken Erica's life? As detectives are wrapping up their interview with Erica's sons, her daughter Kiki arrives at the station.
I was just talking to your brothers about some information about Walter.
But she tells police that she has no doubt who was responsible.
Just like the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy, that was Walter.
He was truly evil, truly diabolical.
I knew he's going to kill my mom.
Erica Powell's daughter has just told Gwinnett County detectives that she's sure 51-year-old Walter Lowe is responsible for her mother's murder.
She was sick of dealing with that.
I always knew he was trouble. The energy, it was dark.
The couple had been married less than a year.
All my life, I saw my mom struggle with being in toxic, very unhealthy relationships with particular kind of men, abusive men, verbally, mentally, physically. So I was trying to warn my mom from day one.
But Kiki says that her mother resented her attempts to intervene.
She didn't like that I was speaking out against that relationship. And me and her got into a lot of fights behind it.
And when Walter did go to jail and convinced Erica to drop the charges against him, her daughter became so desperate that she even went behind her mother's back.
I was so mad. I was so upset with my mom. And that was the nail in the coffin for me.
She actually reached out to the prosecutor and actually asked them to reinstate the protection order. She was adamant that if they didn't reinstate that protection order, that Walter would eventually kill her mother. Unfortunately, the prosecutor's hands were tied due to Erica's desire to have the protection order lifted.
He has her wrapped around his fingers. She thought she could change the scenario.
Erica always wanted to see the best in people.
That is a trait that we sometimes see in our homicide victims. Wonderful, wonderful people whose only failure is that they're too trusting, too believing, and it's too difficult for them to stand up for themselves and take care of themselves and confront the abuser.
People who are abusers, they have a great way of manipulating people and knowing how to make them feel bad so that they stay.
Despite that, Kiki says that her mother's marriage was soon on the rocks.
He turned out to be a bit of a deadbeat. Walter couldn't or wouldn't keep a job, and he really depended on Erica for financial support.
Was it just a drug thing, or did they have some other stuff going on between Walter and your mom?
And it was the drugs, and he leaned on her a lot financially. Honestly, I think she was just getting tired of funding his habit.
When he was on drugs, he was unmanageable and violent.
According to Kiki, things got so bad that her mother eventually admitted that she had been right about Walter all along.
She was reaching her limits and realizing that he is this toxic person.
She was ready to end her marriage.
Erica had had enough. She was done. Her plan was to buy a new house and to move so that she could be safe and create the life that she wanted for her family.
But Erica would never get the chance.
She had shared that she was divorcing Walter, and like 2 weeks from that day, she was killed.
She was so fed up. She just wanted our brothers to be safe.
Does that mean Walter killed her?
They resort to homicide because they don't see another way out of their inability to control. Homicide is the ultimate control.
Erica's children and the detectives are convinced. But is it enough for an arrest warrant?
At this point, everything the detectives have is circumstantial.
Although that could change when one of the couple's neighbors comes forward with what appears to be crucial information.
Thanks for coming in. So, what can you tell us?
Upon speaking to the neighbor, they did find out that Walter was actually pretty distraught for weeks because he thought that Erica was going to leave him.
He did not want it to happen.
He was very despondent with the idea that he was going to lose his marriage.
I saw him in the car a few nights ago, and he was drinking.
In fact, the neighbor says that on the night of the murder, he'd seen Walter sitting parked in the driveway outside Erica's house.
At about 8 p.m., a neighbor saw Walter sitting in the driveway of the house and walked up to have a conversation with Mr. Lowe.
Hey, what's up, man? You all right?
I messed up, man. It's over. You'll see.
At that time, the neighbor thought that Walter was just talking about the impending divorce. But now, those words carry a sinister meaning.
I don't know.
One of Erica Powell's neighbors has just informed police about a cryptic conversation he had with her husband, Walter Lowe, on the night of her murder.
He walked up to have a conversation with Mr. Lowe. Mr. Lowe was acting just crazy. He said, "It's all over, man. It's over. You'll see."
You'll see.
According to the neighbor, he spoke to Walter around 8 o'clock, which is within the coroner's window for time of death.
Coupled with what detectives have learned about Erica and Walter's relationship, an eyewitness placing him at the scene of the crime is enough for an arrest warrant.
He eventually turned himself in to Gwinnett County Jail.
He was represented by counsel and refused to give any statement whatsoever to the police about what had happened.
News of Walter's arrest is still a surprise for her close friends and family.
It kind of shocked me. It kind of surprised me when he did it. But I didn't put it past him, though, because I knew he was using drugs.
When she spoke about her abuse in the past, she would be like, I can't do that again. I can't go through that again. And so to know that she was going through it again is kind of crazy.
When the case goes on trial on August 6, 2018, Walter appears confident.
He was almost antagonistic. Walter Lowe, on several occasions, would mouth things to me as the prosecutor, to members of the audience.
It was one time in court where he actually did this to me, the gun sign in court.
The prosecutors begin by arguing that Walter's motive was simple.
Miss Powell wanted to leave.
He was absolutely desperate to keep her from leaving.
He was like, if I can't have you, no one will have you.
So on the night of the murder, when Walter saw that none of Erica's children were home, he made his move.
He went upstairs to the bedroom where Erica was sleeping.
He shot one time and he missed. The second shot, he didn't miss.
Soon after, a neighbor had seen Walter sitting outside the house.
At that point, the victim was already dead, and that explains the defendant's distraught and upset conduct.
In addition to the neighbor, prosecutors put Erica's daughter Kiki on the stand.
We wanted the jury to know what it was like to be in the presence of this couple when Erica was with us.
It was what you see with typical abusive relationship, how they try to personify themselves as the perfect relationship, perfect couple, and that wasn't true. It was fake. I saw through it.
Walter had been abusive and had been abusive for a while.
When it's the defense's turn, Walter takes the stand and gives his first account of what happened that night.
He admitted that they fought that night and that he knew that she was ready to move with the children.
Just listen.
Walter was desperate to convince her to stay and to give him another chance. But according to Walter, it was actually Erica who became violent.
She pulled the gun on him.
He wrestled it away and accidentally shot her.
He did this whole reenactment and started crying.
When I heard it, it was just like, what?
His defense, it was just a real circus.
The crime scene photographs, the physical evidence did not support that at all. There was no indication of a physical altercation. There was no indication that Erica even moved from her place in the bed. She was literally underneath the covers when she was shot. What he claimed took place that night simply could not have been true.
But will the jury buy Walter's tearful performance on the stand?
The jurors found Walter guilty.
He was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole.
The family was relieved.
He killed my mom in cold blood, and he deserves to rot for the rest of his life.
I was happy that justice was served.
However, no amount of prison time can fill the gaping hole Walter's senseless crime has left behind.
It affected the family in a major way. She was their mom. She was always there for them. Erica was the glue.
I want my mother being here with us, celebrating her life, having her 6-figure job and enjoying it, going on her shopping sprees like she loved.
I had all these great memories. It's like Jesus, it makes me appreciate life a lot more. And people who are good to me, it makes me treat them really, really good back.
And Erica's loved ones hope that other victims of domestic violence can learn from her story.
Just like my mom, don't feel like you're alone and don't feel like you have to hide it.
Get out, because you never know what's going to be that person's trigger where it won't be a next time.
They should make arrangements and then make sure that that abuser doesn't know that that decision has been made. It can be a fatal decision to let that abuser know.
He built a better life for himself after tragedy.
He actually saw his father get murdered. He went into law enforcement to put a closure to that.
He found comfort by helping others.
He had a huge sense of family. He loved the togetherness of family. He just had this joyful spirit about himself.
A new love seemed to be the final piece of the puzzle.
It was more than just friendship.
It was a whirlwind romance.
But a vicious crime ended their future together.
She saw him laying there in a pool of blood.
He didn't deserve this.
Was this a crime of opportunity?
All of the rooms had been ransacked.
They think he walked in on a robbery.
Erica, what are you doing?
Or was his killer driven by a personal vendetta?
So you gonna go back?
She had an ex who was back in the picture.
There was always a concern, was there some type of revenge involved in this?
You always have a choice. Just remember there's always consequences.
January 29th, 2016. It's a Friday afternoon in Pembroke Pines, Florida, a peaceful and diverse suburb of Miami.
Pembroke Pines is a beautiful place. Crime is very low.
It's a multicultural area, has a lot of people of Caribbean descent.
Around 5 o'clock, Barbara Drummond arrives at her son's apartment complex to check on him after learning he didn't show up for work that day.
Her son was 40-year-old Davion Hall, who worked as a corrections officer at the Miami-Dade County Jail.
Barbara initially suspects her son may have just slept through his alarm.
I saw his car, and I'm like, but his car is here.
Dave, are you in there?
I didn't hear an answer. So something said to me, try the door. So I pushed the door, and it was not locked.
Right inside the apartment, Davion's mother is met with a horrifying sight.
When she walks in, she sees him laying face down. Dave! It was like he just walked in and he had his exercise bag still on his back. So I'm thinking that I wonder if he passed out.
As Barbara takes a closer look, her worst fears are realized.
I'm looking to see some kind of breathing, and I saw nothing. I said, wow, I think my son is dead. I started bawling, and I'm like, oh God, what am I to do? What am I to do?
Barbara shakily pulls out her phone and begins dialing.
I call 911 and I'm talking, of course, I'm crying.
Somebody help me, please.
She was screaming and screaming.
Help me, please.
It was blood-curdling.
As Barbara tries to regain her composure, she can only imagine how her beloved son ended up this way.
I'm confused. My mind is gone all over.
Originally from Jamaica, Davion Hall had immigrated with his family to the suburbs of Miami, Florida, when he was just 6 years old.
His father's family were already here, and we came because we thought it would have been a better opportunity here for so many things.
Growing up in South Florida's diverse immigrant community, Davion learned to tackle any challenge life threw at him.
He was always smiling, loving, but very, very energetic. He had a huge sense of family. He loved the togetherness of family.
But after just a few happy years in Florida, Davion's family was ripped apart by tragedy.
He actually witnessed his father being murdered.
It was a home invasion, and he was there.
Davion was just 10 years old at the time.
At such a young age, Davion learned that some killers escape justice.
Police never found his father's killer.
I think it traumatized him to a certain degree, and it was something that he feared.
But in his adulthood, Davion turned that fear into action.
After coming home from college, Davion became a corrections officer.
He was a very good officer. He took care of his unit and he managed his inmates very well.
I think that his interest in law enforcement stemmed a lot from his father being killed as a way to cope with what happened. I think he went into law enforcement to put a closure to that.
Working in law enforcement wasn't the only way Davion served his community.
As busy as he was, he still found the time to mentor young men.
He took on basketball coaching, which is a great leadership position.
Where he lived, there were a number of Black young men there, and they didn't have a father in the household.
He was a great role model for them and showed them career paths they could take to better themselves.
But even though Davion stayed busy with his work and mentorships, he still tried to make time for love.
I think Davion knew that he was very attractive. He was a handsome guy.
He was a single man. He had a good career. He had a lot of whatever the ladies were attracted to.
He had his pick of the ladies.
In early January 2016, one particular woman caught Davion's eye.
When he moved into his apartment in Pembroke Pines, he noticed that he had a neighbor that was very attractive.
Her name was Erica Brooks.
Hello. I'm Dave. I just moved in.
I'm Erica. Welcome to the neighborhood.
They had taken some sort of interest in one another, a liking in each other.
The sparks were almost immediate.
We should hang out sometime.
Yeah, I love that.
The relationship quickly progressed to the next level.
And it was getting pretty serious, even after only dating each other for a few weeks.
But unfortunately, the couple's budding relationship would be cut short. On January 29th, Davion's mother has just found her son unresponsive in his apartment.
911 receives a call from Davion's mother, frantically screaming in the phone, saying that she thinks that her son is dead.
Help me, please.
It was just a shock.
Within minutes, first responders arrive on the scene.
Once EMT arrived, they did confirm that Davion was deceased.
Davion Hall was shot.
And as police begin processing the scene, it will become abundantly clear that this was no accident.
The entire apartment had been ransacked.
There was most likely a robbery taking place. They panicked and they shot him.
In the winter of 2016, everything was going right for Miami Area Corrections Officer Davion Hall.
He's a man that enjoyed life, handsome, smart.
He's got himself a new apartment and a very pretty neighbor.
What you got going on here?
He and his neighbor, Erica Brooks, had hit it off and quickly started dating.
But on January 29th, police have responded to Davion's apartment after a chilling 911 call from his mother, Barbara Drummond.
Somebody help me, please.
She found Davion unresponsive in his apartment.
We have one deceased male, start major crimes, and medical examiner.
Investigators are quickly able to determine the cause of death.
They can see that he's been shot at least 4 times.
One shot was in his torso, the rest were around his neck and face.
He was still in his gym clothes, and he actually still had his gym bag on his shoulder.
They suspect that whoever killed Davion surprised him when he returned home from the gym between 12:30 and 1:30 p.m.
Definitely looks like he got ambushed right as he came through the door.
Police surmise that whoever shot Davion made sure to cover their tracks.
What do you got? We haven't been locating any shell casings inside or outside.
That means the shooter must have took it with them or used a revolver to commit the crime.
There are also signs that the killer tried to destroy forensic evidence.
Look at that.
They noticed right away that just a few feet from Davion's body is a bottle of bleach.
That indicates the killer tried to clean up the crime scene.
And as investigators continue processing the scene, a possible motive comes into focus.
The apartment had been ransacked.
Things are pulled out of the drawers. You can tell that it's been gone through.
So it looked like somebody was searching for something.
Could Davion have stumbled across a burglar in the act?
There weren't any signs of forced entry to the door, but all other signs point to some sort of an intruder.
There was most likely a robbery taking place, and he just happened to get home while the robbers were there. They panicked, and they shot him.
The theory is reinforced when detectives interview Davion's mother, Barbara.
I'm sorry I have to tell you this, but your son was shot multiple times.
I can't believe it.
Barbara also believes the crime had to have been the result of some sort of robbery attempt.
Did he happen to have anything that was particularly valuable?
He had guns.
We are talking a large gun collection, not just his service weapons, but he also had an AR-15.
He would mention that his father wasn't able to protect himself. So he always felt like, even in his home, he would show me, like, tell me, like, hey, I keep a gun here, I keep a gun here, just in case. But the way that he passed was similar to the way that he lost his father. So it was very eerie.
Instead of providing protection, had Davion's guns gotten him killed?
The only thing that was taken were his collection of guns.
Whether this was a random or targeted attack, it sounds like those guns were exactly what the intruder were after.
But who took them? Barbara assures detectives that her son didn't have any enemies.
If he had any beef with anybody, he would have told me about it.
He didn't mention anything when I talked to him on the phone.
His mother had just talked to Davion the day before. She indicated that he was happy.
He seemed to be his normal self. Didn't seem like anything was concerning him or bothering him.
Despite what Barbara says, detectives wonder if perhaps Davion's work as a corrections officer could have something to do with his death.
His job put Davion in direct contact with some of the worst criminals in South Florida.
Could this be some kind of grudge from work?
The detectives assure Davion's mother that they won't rest until her son's killer is brought to justice.
Detective Katz said, Miss Drummond, I am going to find who killed your son. He's one of us, and we're going to solve this.
But before detectives can continue their investigation, one of Davion's neighbors approaches them.
She said she heard some sort of loud altercation coming from Davion's apartment about a week before he was shot.
Erica, what are you doing?
She noticed raised voices and the woman who was very agitated and upset and shouting, and then ultimately the woman stormed out.
The neighbor says the woman was Erica Brooks, who also lives in the complex.
It had become pretty common knowledge around the apartment complex that Davion and Erica were dating.
They flirted with each other. They clearly enjoyed being with each other. They started sort of a whirlwind romance.
And now detectives wonder, did this whirlwind turn into a violent tornado?
It's possible that the argument between Erica and Davion had something to do with his murder.
Detectives needed to find Erica Brooks right away.
Homicide detectives in Pembroke Pines, Florida, have just learned that shooting victim Davion Hall had gotten into an explosive argument with his new girlfriend, Erica Brooks, just 1 week before his untimely death.
The timing is certainly suspicious.
And she lives right there.
So now detectives are curious and they want to talk to this Erica. Maybe she has some answers.
Unfortunately, getting a hold of Erica will be easier said than done.
They knock on her door, no answer. They call, it goes to voicemail. Erica is nowhere to be found.
But detectives do make another discovery that piques their interest.
There were surveillance cameras around the building. Definitely need that footage.
They were able to obtain the camera footage from the apartment complex manager.
The next morning, detectives begin poring over the footage. The video shows two men walking in the direction of Davion's apartment just moments before police believe he was murdered.
They both had very distinct clothes on, which was captured on surveillance cameras.
One was wearing a red hoodie, one was wearing a black hoodie. Their faces were obscured.
After the two men walk out of frame in the direction of Davion's front door, they don't appear anywhere else in the surveillance.
They must have left in the other direction away from the camera.
Could these two mystery men be Davion's killers?
Detectives are once again wondering if Davion could have been the victim of a couple of angry cons who knew where he lived.
We had a corrections deputy that was found deceased, and we had concerns as to, was this something that was related to his job?
Detectives give Davion's supervisor at the correctional facility a call.
They want to know, was there some type of run-in maybe with an inmate where there was a history there?
But Davion's supervisor tells detectives that Davion had an excellent reputation with the inmates.
He wasn't one of those officers that came in and ruled with an iron fist. He was more calm and laid back with the inmates.
He was known for being fair and firm. Just like he mentored people in the community, he also mentored the inmates.
Davion's supervisor says Davion was cautious with the inmates too.
He said that there's absolutely no way that Davion would let the inmates know about his gun collection.
After speaking with Davion's supervisor, detectives feel like they're back at square one.
They still have no leads as to who the two mystery men are in the surveillance video or who would have wanted to target Davion.
But they catch a break when Davion's girlfriend, Erica Brooks, finally surfaces.
Detectives, Erica Brooks to see you.
Okay.
Detectives wanted to speak to Erica after learning that she and Davion had gotten into an argument the week earlier.
Erica apologizes for not contacting them sooner.
She says a friend at the apartment complex told her about Davion's death the night before when she got home from work, and that the police were wanting to speak with her.
She's distraught. She's confused. She's concerned. She's in disbelief still.
Honestly, it just doesn't seem real.
Can you tell us about your relationship with Davion?
There's not much to tell. We've been hanging out the past few weeks.
What Erica explained to us was that it was a short relationship that started back in the beginning of January. She had become friendly with Mr. Hall to the point where she would go over from time to time, and their relationship started to build.
I wasn't looking for anything serious, but I liked him a lot.
She was a little hesitant. She couldn't deny the attraction.
When detectives press Erica, she adamantly denies any involvement in Davion's death. So they confront her about the argument that she allegedly had with Davion a week earlier.
Sounds like you two got pretty heated.
Well, I had to tell him something that he wasn't too happy about.
And that's when Erica drops a tantalizing new lead.
Turns out, Erica was still involved with an ex-boyfriend, 29-year-old Brian Fairweather.
Erica reveals he had been so abusive towards her and so dangerous that she had to take out an order of protection against him.
Is it possible that Brian found out about Erica's relationship with Davion and exacted his revenge?
Investigators have just learned some surprising new information in the murder of corrections officer Davion Hall. Erica Brooks, the woman Davion was dating right before his death, says her ex-boyfriend, Brian Fairweather, is still in the picture.
Erica says that she and Brian had a very complicated relationship.
It scared me.
There was a history of abuse between Brian and Erica. Erica was so fearful of Brian that she, in fact, had obtained a restraining order.
I got the restraining order in October, and I asked him to move out.
Do you think he wasn't respecting the order?
He said he wanted to get back together, but I told him I wasn't interested in that because I was seeing Davion.
However, Erica tells detectives that she was willing to try to make their split more amicable.
I agreed to remove the restraining order.
As soon as the restraining order ended, he was there knocking on Erica's door.
Gonna stay overnight?
She didn't turn him away. She let him come in and she let him spend the night. That sort of formed a uncomfortable love triangle between her, Brian, and Davian.
Davion wasn't too happy when he found out Brian was back in the picture. He was pretty mad about it. That's why we argued.
Erica, what are you doing? Everything's been going so great between us.
I know, Dave, but you have to understand me and Brian have history.
Erica and Davion had only been dating for a few weeks, and they decided that it was best for them to part ways.
But they still saw each other around the apartment complex and remained friendly, which Erica claims didn't sit well with Brian Fairweather.
Brian didn't like it one bit. He got really, really angry and upset about it.
When Brian gets like that, you don't know what he's gonna do.
What do you mean?
According to Erica, Brian confronted Davion about the relationship.
Can I help you?
The day prior to the homicide, they had a conversation. There was some concern that things were going to escalate.
He told him in no uncertain terms that Davian was to stay far, far away from Erica.
Newsflash. We getting back together, so stay away from her.
Whatever, man. You can have her.
That same night, Brian was back at Erica's place.
The last time Brian had stayed over Erica's apartment was the night before the homicide.
He was still asleep when I left for work that morning and was gone when I came back.
Erica says that she hasn't seen Brian since, but they did speak on the phone after she learned of Davion's death.
Erica admitted that this phone conversation with Brian gave her a bad feeling and that he said some pretty disturbing things.
He was angry. He started talking about snitches and stitches and stuff like that. It scared me.
So do you think Brian could be responsible for what happened to Davion?
I don't know for sure Brian was involved in Davion's murder, but I think it's definitely possible.
Erica's story seems believable, but detectives also need to get Brian's side of the story, and they ask Erica to help.
The detectives have Erica call Brian.
When Erica tells Brian she's been talking to detectives, he appears unwilling to cooperate at first.
And he's very reluctant about coming to the police precinct.
Detectives told Erica to tell Brian it would be to his benefit to come in willingly.
Listen, Brian, you're just going to make things more difficult for you if you refuse to speak with him.
Okay.
Eventually, Brian agrees.
Ultimately, I was able to meet with Brian, who voluntarily came to our police department where he spoke to us.
Detectives noticed that Brian does fit the height and build of one of the men from the surveillance video from outside of Davion's apartment.
But Brian denies having anything to do with Davion's death.
I wasn't involved in that whatsoever.
He admits that he and Davion had a discussion about Erica, but says it wasn't a big deal.
He tells police it wasn't a heated argument. Brian explained to Davion how he was rekindling his relationship with Erica, and he says Davion agreed to back off.
Listen, we were talking, and everything was cool.
He denies that he got angry, but we felt there was definitely some type of conflict that took place.
I wasn't even there that morning.
Well, Erica said that you were.
He was still asleep when I left for work that morning.
According to Erica, Brian had spent the night and was still there when she left for work the following morning.
I left pretty soon after she did, so she didn't see me leave.
His story just isn't really adding up. and he seemed to have a motive for wanting to harm Davian.
Brian Fairweather becomes immediately the #1 suspect in this case.
However, detectives will need more than mere suspicion to prove their hunch correct.
They didn't really have any solid evidence against him aside from Erica's statement.
Investigators are forced to let Brian go for the time being.
They needed to find proof that he was one of the men in the surveillance video.
But as detectives continue building their case against Brian, a young man comes forward who changes the entire course of the investigation.
Name is Jermaine Smalls.
He said he had some information that he thought was relevant to the investigation.
Come on in, Jermaine. Have a seat, please.
According to Jermaine, a friend of his made a shocking confession 3 days ago.
His friend told him that he had been involved in the murder of a corrections officer.
That friend was 21-year-old O'Keefe Sinclair.
But who is O'Keefe Sinclair? And why would he want Davian dead?
They were just beginning to unravel what really happened to Davian Hall.
Florida police investigating the murder of 40-year-old Davian Hall now have a new suspect in their crosshairs, 21-year-old O'Keefe Sinclair.
O'Keefe's friend, Jermaine Smalls, told police that O'Keefe actually confessed to him about killing a corrections officer one day after Davian's body was discovered.
But what is O'Keefe's connection to Davian? And why would he want him dead?
Jermaine says O'Keefe and Davian lived in the same apartment complex, but he really doesn't know much more about what happened.
It's O'Keefe, and he lives in apartment 3B.
Detectives know they need to speak with O'Keefe immediately. After wrapping things up with Jermaine, they track O'Keefe down and bring him in for questioning.
I was able to meet with Mr. Sinclair, who voluntarily came to our police department.
At first, O'Keefe denied any culpability into knowing anything that happened to Davian.
I really don't even know the guy. I just saw him around the complex sometimes.
But when detectives confront O'Keefe with what his friend Jermaine told them, he starts to change his story.
Okay, yeah, I was there. But I swear I just thought we were going to steal the guns and go.
According to O'Keefe, the whole thing wasn't even his idea.
O'Keefe claims he was just helping out an old friend, 29-year-old Brian Fairweather.
Detectives perk up at the mention of the name Brian Fairweather. They suspected Brian's involvement in Davian's death since speaking with his ex-girlfriend, Erica Brooks.
According to O'Keefe, Brian had originally come to him about a plan to make some quick cash.
He knew that Davian had an extensive stash of guns at his apartment, and O'Keefe had recently fallen on hard times.
O'Keefe was struggling to make rent and running the risk of becoming homeless, so he agreed to Brian's plan of robbing Davian.
I was just really desperate at the time, and it seemed like an easy way to make some money.
They went there that morning to steal the guns. Their intention was to break into the apartment, but when they got there, they found that the door was already unlocked.
But O'Keefe says after collecting Davian's gun stash, Brian wasn't ready to leave just yet.
Brian changed the plans, and instead of just stealing the guns and leaving, he wanted to wait for Davian to come home.
Let's go.
Why did Brian want to wait in the house for Davian?
To confront him.
About what?
I honestly don't know. He didn't say.
O'Keefe says the whole thing was starting to make him uneasy.
After they had grabbed all the guns, he decided to go outside and act as a lookout.
O'Keefe tells detectives that just a few minutes later, Davian returned.
He watched Davian go inside the apartment.
And according to O'Keefe, he heard gunshots ring out seconds later.
O'Keefe claimed this startled him. and he ran back towards the apartment to see what happened.
Davion was on the floor dead, and then Brian was trying to clean up.
Well, man, just help me.
O'Keefe admits that he started helping Brian try and cover up their tracks.
They used bleach they found in the home to scrub all fingerprints.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
After that, they took the guns and left.
And you didn't think to ask what was going on inside while you were waiting and why Davion was laying on the floor?
No. It all just happened so fast. But it's clear to me that Brian was the one who shot Davion.
According to O'Keefe, he actually sold a .38 revolver to Brian a few months earlier, and he suspects that's the gun Brian used to shoot Davion.
This matched up with the bullets that had been taken from Davion's body.
But can detectives really trust O'Keefe's account? Whether he fired the fatal shots that killed Davion or not, O'Keefe is still culpable in the murder and cover-up.
They go ahead and place O'Keefe under arrest and prepare to bring Brian Fairweather in for another round of questioning.
Before taking Brian into custody, detectives decide they need a little more ammo against him.
They decided to subpoena his phone records.
What the police find from the phone records is that the two men texted and called each other 49 times on the day that Davion was killed.
GPS records from their phones also put both men in the apartment complex right around the time of the murder.
Detectives also speak with another resident of Davion's apartment complex who confirms seeing Brian there that day and says he was wearing a black hoodie.
That would be consistent with the surveillance video of the two men walking toward Davion's apartment.
Not to mention that Erica had said that Brian was there that morning when she left for work.
With this arsenal of new evidence in tow, detectives sit down with Brian Fairweather a second time.
Okay, Brian, we've spoken with O'Keefe Sinclair, and he told us everything. He's claiming that you are the one that shot Davion Hall.
What?
But Brian isn't budging.
Even when they present Brian with the evidence proving he was at the complex the morning of the murder, he still denies everything.
Listen, I had nothing to do with this, all right? O'Keefe shot Davion, and he's trying to blame it on me.
Despite Brian's accusations, police have what they need to charge him with first-degree murder. But with neither Brian Fairweather nor O'Keefe Sinclair copping to the crime, will Davion Hall's killer ever be brought to justice?
It still wasn't entirely clear which man fired the fatal shots that killed Davion.
Prosecutors had a long road ahead of them.
In the spring of 2016, police have charged Brian Fairweather and O'Keefe Sinclair with first-degree murder for the shooting death of 40-year-old corrections officer Davion Hall.
Sinclair says that all of this was Brian's idea. He said that Brian approached him about breaking into the apartment.
Seemed like an easy way to make some money.
According to O'Keefe, Brian was the one who shot Davion.
I had nothing to do with this, all right?
However, Brian continues to deny any involvement in the crime.
Brian said O'Keefe must have been the one who killed Davion and is trying to pin it on him.
With neither of the men fessing up, it's now up to investigators to try to determine what really happened that fateful afternoon.
Can I help you?
Investigators believed that Brian Fairweather was angry about the fact that Davion was trying to have a relationship with Erica, who he was trying to reestablish a relationship with.
They surmised Brian lured O'Keefe into helping him teach Davion a lesson with the promise of making money off the stolen guns.
When Davion returned home from the gym that afternoon, one of the two men fired the fatal shots.
Investigators couldn't say for sure which one of them did it, but it still made both of them culpable in what happened.
But as prosecutors prepared to argue this theory at trial, they received word from Brian's attorney that he'd like to speak with them.
So Brian met with the state attorney as well as with his legal team, and it was decided at that time that Brian was going to cooperate in the investigation.
Brian finally admits to his involvement in Davion Hall's death,
I didn't kill him.
but claims he wasn't the one who pulled the trigger.
Brian revealed to us that Mr. Sinclair was the gunman. He was the individual that pulled the trigger.
For Brian's cooperation, the prosecutors agreed to let Brian plead to the lesser charge of manslaughter and drop the first-degree murder charge.
In consultation with Mr. Fairweather's legal team, it was agreed upon that he was going to receive 9 years in state prison with his cooperation.
The state attorney had a discussion with me, and she said because they don't have any strong evidence on Brian, they will have to do a plea bargain because it's better to do that than for him to just go and set free. So I said, that's fine with me.
I'm not satisfied with the sentence for him. It doesn't bring Dave back. He gets out, Dave is not here any longer.
With Brian Fairweather's cooperation, prosecutors feel more confident securing a conviction against O'Keefe Sinclair.
Prosecutors' game plan is to present the jury with Brian's version of events.
But O'Keefe's defense team argues that Brian's testimony shouldn't be believed.
The defense tries to convince the jury that it was really Brian who was the mastermind behind this entire crime.
The defense team says he's the one who pulled the trigger.
However, the jury sides with the prosecution.
Sinclair is found guilty of first-degree murder.
Mr. Sinclair was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole.
As for Brian Fairweather, he's set to be released in 2024.
I'm disappointed because I believe this entire situation, he's the brain behind why all of this occurred. Whether he pulled the trigger or not, he was there.
For Davion's friends and family, no punishment can make up for the loss of their loved one.
The ultimate justice would have been my brother being alive, and nothing can change that. I had to come to a place where I had to consciously say to myself, let it go, forgive them. That is what Dave would like to see.
Here he still has a legacy. We're going to continue to carry that.
In fact, Davion's mother has created a foundation to keep that legacy alive.
The Davion L. Hall Foundation was created to continue his passion of serving his community through the mentorship of at-risk youth.
It's about fostering the right environment so young men can learn and grow and become the men that we need them to become.
If I can just touch one life at a time, and that's my goal and my vision. Save one child, because I'm sure if O'Keefe had something like this and he was willing to be a good steward, he wouldn't have taken my son's